Hey, it's your girl Nelly Phoenix. Welcome to my podcast. And this is where I tell you guys how I moved from Ashley Somerset into Nelly Phoenix. So, one day I was walking in the mall, minding my own business, where there were two young men who was up the stairs. So, coming up the stairs, I noticed one of them was glancing at me. Another one was pretending like he didn't see me, but yeah, he was dealing with his camera. But it's hard not to notice me. So I went up the stairs and came down back because what I went up to do, I didn't get through. And one of them, he turned and he was like, "You look like a model," and I was like, "I am," with my brazen self. So then we started to have a conversation, and they share what they do. And within 15 minutes, getting to know these individuals, which is Martin and Malachi, I told them my entire life story. And they turned to me and they were like, "We got to get you on the radio. We need to let people hear your story." So, because of that day, I am now here to share with you guys how I rise from the ashes and became the flaming bird, the phoenix. Basically, growing up, I went through sexual abuse, physical and emotional abuse. My mom was a single parent of three kids. She was basically not around a lot, which leads to me being sexually molested by a close family member. It happened from the age of 8 into 10, and then it moved from that family member into a close family friend. Then from that close family friend into a other family member because they were thinking that, okay, we're moving her from this environment and putting her into another environment. She's going to be safe. But no, I wasn't. So growing up with that trauma, thinking that, okay, I was ill because one of them was far away, and trying to escape from all of that that's coming within myself, because I didn't have that much of a support system because, like I said, my mom was always busy. Only the Lord know who my father was at the time, and I was there on my own. Sometimes, you know, you might have to yourself, "Hey, you just said you were physically abused." Also, um, during most of my molestation, I was being hit on, called name. I was told things that would basically make an 8-year-old feel like she was worthless. And then it just kept going from one stage to another stage to another stage to the point where I wanted to die. It's like there were no escape. So I ended up living with my grandmother in St. Lucia, and my mom sent me there because she thought that was the best thing for me at the time. And as much as it was okay, I still had that constant nightmare of somebody coming into my room or somebody doing something to me. I'd hate men. I still think I have a tiny bit of hate for men, but Martin, Malachi don't come for me. But yeah, I still think I have a tiny bit of hate for men because growing up, seeing men as a villain was something that I was forced to do. It's like in the back of my mind, I always had to click. I always had to be on the alert because I'm thinking that this person is gonna hurt me or that person is gonna hurt me. And then I became a danger to myself because with the overwhelmness and I didn't know who to talk to, and I was like a sponge just sucking in everything, I started to cut. And then I moved from cutting into trying to take my own life. I tried to take my own life about 3 times, and for some reason the Lord didn't want me to die. But you know, I drank kerosene. I cut my wrist till I bleed. I overdosed a Tylenol in tequila. Um, I tried to jump over a river, but when I made to the part, I tore it back. I think the Lord had told me that, I was just playing, so I tore it back. And it took me to when I turned the age of, I was 16 and I had cut my hands lying flat down on my bathroom floor. I can't really recognize which year, what age I was, but I know for sure I was flat down on the bathroom floor and I passed out. The next day I woke up. I was in the hospital with my mom, my sister, and everybody crying. And then I said to myself, Ashley, you gotta do something. So I started to write. I started to write all the things the way I was feeling. I started to write about what affected me most. So I use writing to channel the pain and the hurt instead of cutting because before I started to write, I used physical pain to fight the emotional pain. And then when I started to write, I was more able to express myself through writing, through dark poems, but it helped me a lot. Let's fast forward to the day I met Martin and Malachi in the mall. That was the first time I could have openly tell my story in details. And the first time I can look at someone and say, this happened to me. And I didn't feel like bawling my eyes out or screaming or didn't feel less about who I am. Walking the road, I felt like I was nothing. Like, like, I'm just this because that's what I was made for. That's how I felt about myself because that's what was put in my mind. And when I met those two individuals and they were like, your story could help many young people who have been going through the same thing that you're going through. The same thing that you're going through, they give me a sense of hope. They helped me move from the trapped 8 year old into the little more mature person, the adult that can face her fear. I'm not going to say that I fully overcome everything because if I sit here and I said to you guys that, hey, I'm long over that or I fully overcome it, then I'm lying. I'm going to say that I'm on the path of becoming the better version of who I am and know that one day I would be able to use my story to help other young people who are going through the same thing that I went through or who have went through the same thing that I went through, who feel lost, who feel confused, who feel like this world had nowhere for them to be. Um, so when Martin brought me and I did my story on the radio, it I felt like a weight was lifted off of my shoulder. And just like you, I think this is the first time he's hearing this too. I felt like, this is who I am and this is what I want to do. I want to share my story, my fight, my battles with people who have went through the same thing that I have went through. So whilst we were telling my story and then we were brainstorming for a name, he said, let's call you the Phoenix. He was like, because you rise from the ashes like the Phoenix did. So we're gonna call you the Phoenix. So in a simple form, that's how I got the name Nelly Phoenix. And that's why now I prefer to be called Nelly Phoenix because I am a Phoenix and I'm proud to be a Phoenix. And I know that there are many other young people out there who are also Phoenix, who are also struggling in some way. And trust me. So I know there are other young people out there who are Phoenixes, who have went through the same thing that I have went through, who will feel like, hey, there is no way out of this. There is no way to get out of that trap, 8 year old, 9 year old, whatever age you are in, and you feel like, hey, I'm still trapped there. Counseling may not have worked for you. Writing may not have worked for you. But I know there is some way that you can be able to express yourself. And if you're looking for someone to help you figure that out, you can reach out to us. You can reach out to me because I'm here to help you figure out what's the best way you can heal from what is mentally holding you back to your true self. So, with that being said, you can reach out to me on my Facebook at Nelly Phoenix, my Instagram at Nelly Phoenix, and my TikTok at Nelly Phoenix. And I'm willing to be there for everyone who needs a shoulder to lean on. Thank you for watching my podcast. Thank you for listening to my story. And I hope I was able to touch a few hearts and shine some light on what strength is.